Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from rSpace. I, 26 male, caught my live-in girlfriend, 24 female, of 5 years, cheating on me with her coworker. My girlfriend and I have known each other for 7 years. We've been going out for the past 5 and living together for maybe 18 months. I flew a few states away for work and have been gone for the past week. My flight was delayed because of weather, and I told her I would just stay the night. But on impulse, I decided to catch the red eye and then drive back through the morning. I figured it'd be a nice surprise. I pulled up and noticed another car in the driveway. It didn't really sink in. I just thought it was odd for how early it was. I came home late pretty often, so I'm good at getting in quietly. Walked in, unpacked my dirty clothes, and put them in the hamper. Then went to the bedroom. They were both in bed, only partly covered by the sheets. I didn't recognize the other guy immediately. They were both asleep, and I don't know how long I stood there. It didn't compute. After I recognized the guy in bed with her, I had one of those moments. Just a red second where I imagined picking up something really heavy and smashing his face. But it passed pretty quickly. I was just really tired and a little sad. I woke her up and told her I was going to a hotel. I think she was too sleep groggy to get it at first. She was smiling for a little bit before remembering. She got up and was starting to talk and cry, but I just tuned her out. I grabbed some spare clothes and got out. I turned off my phone before I left the driveway. I just don't know what to do right now. I feel like I've been in a car accident. Just sitting here in this crappy hotel room drinking some crappy whiskey I got at the supermarket on the way over. I've got my laptop, my phone, a change of work clothes, and that's about it. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to be anymore. Mini update. I finished reading the email she sent me. Cried for a bit because she was pretty blunt about it. It wasn't the first time they'd slept together, and she didn't try and say there were extenuating circumstances or anything. I wasn't drunk or stoned. He didn't coerce me. I was flattered when he hit on me. He's a very attractive man that could probably sleep with lots of women, so for him to choose me was very special. It was a chance to satiate my enormous ego. She said that she'd understand if I wanted her out of the house and out of my life. She thanked me for not calling her a whore or a slut or etc., even though I am. She said that I didn't have to stay in a hotel, that she'd be out of the house in the morning, and that she'd leave her keys there. Then she apologized for destroying your trust in me and betraying everything we had. If I never want to talk to her again, she said that I don't have to. I can't do anything that would account for what I've done. No apology is enough. I was selfish and arrogant and deceitful for no other reason than I wanted to be. As much as I want it, I don't deserve your forgiveness. I can only still ask because I'm a hypocrite. I'm sorry. Just reading this is making me cry again. I'm glad she didn't try to justify what she did, but I'm still lost. Mini update. I've been back home for a few hours. I made myself a grilled cheese with onions and watched some Cosmos. I almost wish I'd been called into work. It'd be easier to keep my mind off of things. As it is, it's been very hard to resist the urge to call her. I don't know how I'm supposed to settle things either way without contacting her at some point. In the meantime, I've gotten a few phone messages. A few were from her family, who I'm on good terms with. I guess at some point yesterday she told them that she'd cheated. Her sister let me know that she'd be staying at her place in a spare bedroom, and her dad texted me an apology, saying that he thought he'd raised her better. No messages from her, which I was kind of relieved about. If I heard her voice, I'd be tempted to call. I very nearly blew my top when I saw I'd gotten a text from her coworker. Sorry dude, I didn't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't really care as long as I never see him again. I've gotten a lot of advice and support from people, which I really appreciate. A few think I'm some kind of a-hole for not immediately throwing her out. I don't agree, but whatever. However, I also received a few really disturbing and virulent messages suggesting that I should have taken it much further than that. If I'm a beta because I didn't send someone to the hospital, then call me a beta. I'm not out to please people like you, and my heart pumps piss for that kind of misogynistic BS. Anyway, from the advice I've gotten, it seems like a protracted separation would be the best way to determine how I feel. I don't regret the last 5 years, even given what's happened, but I need some perspective, and I'm not the type to rush into anything, so I won't be tossing all of her belongings in the trash. What I could use some help with is figuring out the time frame. How long should I wait? There has to be a discussion at some point. Main update number 2. Today I set aside the day to get a number of things done. I deleted her from my contacts, both online and on my phone. I called Laura's sister and asked that she come by to pick up whatever Laura would need for the next few months, but told her I didn't want Laura coming here. She agreed. Then I boxed up all the things I knew she'd absolutely need. Bank bills, phone charger, glasses, those kinds of things. I also wrote down all the contact info that she'd need to get her mail redirected. Her sister came by a little after noon with a few boxes. I helped her pack a bit, but it didn't take long. Clothes, makeup, and a few other things I had missed. She told me as she was leaving that Laura had asked for a transfer at work. I basically ignored that and said goodbye. If she actually did that, I figured it's something I can't care about right now. From what everyone on here has been saying, now is the time to focus on me. To that end, I called work and confirmed that I had about a week and a half of paid vacation allocated. I won't be necessarily taking them immediately, but it's good to know. I spent the rest of the day just trying to wallow in fun. I watched 2 of my favorite Mel Brooks movies while eating some double cheese macaroni. I picked up a few books from the local Barnes & Noble, and I tried a new game, DayZ, that I'm absolutely terrible at. I think I've made a clean break and given myself the space I need, but I still feel pretty terrible. All day I was having little forgetful moments that made me feel like crap. While browsing at the bookstore, I'd think, she'd love this book. Or while watching a movie, she always giggles at that part. I can't help thinking of them. My brain just lurches in gear and starts regurgitating memories and thoughts I don't need. I don't know how to get past that. It makes me feel crazy. I know logically that I need time and distance to figure things out, to regroup. All the same, thinking of spending a month like this makes me feel like I'm struggling to breathe. What if I need 3 months, or 6, or longer? I might go insane. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with this empty time. I've cut the ripcord, and I'm free falling. Mini update. I've taken some of the advice a lot of you good folks gave me and looked into a few projects to occupy myself with. Changing my living space seems to be the big theme, and rearranging just a few things in the apartment has already made me feel a little better. After talking to the landlord, I also went out and bought a few paint supplies. No murals are planned, but the little splash of blue I slapped over the yellow beige of one wall has lifted my spirits a bit. Working out seems to be a little less intuitive. I've never been in terrible shape due to good metabolism, a halfway active lifestyle, and eating habits that are at least better than abysmal. So I'm not quite going from couch to 60, but it's pretty close because I never had any formal training or instruction for either exercising or dieting. I'm thinking that just getting on a stationary bike for 30 minutes a few times a week might be a good start. But any real advice on what to start with would be appreciated. I might use the vacation time I've accrued to travel somewhere. It feels like a temporary change of scenery may help me get my head on straight too. Main update number 2. Again, I guess? Well, this was a freaking terrible day. I've been trying so gosh darn hard to keep my crap together. I had plans, things to do. Got up for work, my first day back since what happened. I was looking forward to losing myself in the minutia. So of course, I get in a car accident on the way to work. Of freaking course. All the progress I made, gone in the crapper. I can't remember the accident itself, but I was told I wasn't the one at fault at least. I've got whiplash, a concussion, and my left eye is swollen shut. Add bruises all over, and you get the idea. The doctor wants me to have a CT and MRI done in the morning, so I have to spend the night. I called my folks and told them I'm fine because I don't want them driving 4 hours just for this. I also let a few coworker buds know what happened, and they promised to cover for me until I can get back. In the meantime, I'm stuck in this bed staring at my smartphone. It's impossible for me to relax. My left hand has had what feels like the world's largest IV in it since I got here. At one point, I was watching the bag empty, counting the millimeters on the pump display down to 0. I thought that if I could just get that off, just have the hand free, I'd be a little bit more comfortable. I could maybe sleep. Then the nurse made her rounds and replaced the nearly empty bag with a new one. I almost cried. Then Laura came, and it's like someone twisted my brain. I wanted her here more than anything, and at the same time, I felt like throwing up. All I could do was look at her. She tried very hard to say something, but started crying before she could get much out. She asked me if I was okay. I was all prepped for a monosyllabic reply. The reptilian, calculating part of me at work. She knows I'm vulnerable. Maybe she's just taking advantage of the situation, using it to her benefit. Then Laura took my hand, and I just dissolved. My body hurts, I'm miserable, and I'm bummed out. Tired every way I can be. She squeezed my hand and we both cried. She just kept saying, "I'm so sorry," over and over. It took me a few minutes to compose myself. I wanted Laura to stay so badly, but I knew I shouldn't be having a discussion with the shape I'm in. I thanked her for coming and asked her to leave. Laura was still crying and didn't say anything for a minute. Then she apologized for coming, told me she loved me before she stepped out. I'm laying here and I feel so powerless. All these freaking projects I had in mind to help are useless. I'm confined to this crappy bed with my thoughts. I can't even manage one step forward, 2 steps back. This sucks. It freaking sucks. No contact, but all I want right now is her fingers ruffling my hair. I don't know if I can do this right now. Mini update. I managed to get some sleep yesterday morning, but I was regularly interrupted by nurses, so I didn't get a whole lot. The doctor advised I stay at least another night after the MRI results. On the flip side, I got them to give me something to help me sleep. Finally got the IV out. A friend from work grabbed me a few things from my apartment. I was going to update last night, but I was just too tired. My buddy brought my work laptop by accident, so games are out of the question. I should be getting out of here by noon though. Laura's sister called and asked if I wanted any food brought by, but I have an idea who'd be making it, so I had to decline. I need to wait 2 to 3 weeks before I can engage in any heavy physical activity, so my gym plan is on hold. But thank you all for the assistance and advice you've given me over the last several days. I felt really pitiful laying in this bed, much less so after I read all the good things most of you folks had to say. I really appreciate the movie and book recommendations. Despite the limits my doctor put on me, I'll still have things to do for a while. This has honestly been the worst week of my life, and I don't think I could have made it through nearly as intact without you. Really, thanks again for all the love and support. Main update number 3. I haven't spoken with my ex since she visited me in the hospital. I get updates on what she's doing from her sister very occasionally, and I can't help but read them. Whether I trust them or not, I don't know if hearing that she isn't seeing or sleeping with anyone makes me feel better or worse. Getting back on the job helped a lot. Part of it was the work. Looking over hundreds of design drawings for something like a backup power plant coolant system is time consuming, but absorbs straight thoughts pretty well. My coworkers were an even bigger help. It's not as though I ever felt left out or excluded before. After word of what happened got around though, I got invited to little outings every weekend. Barbecues, movie nights, trips to the arcade. I was really overwhelmed by it all. What I really didn't expect was the influx of attention from women. It wasn't all at once, but a few weeks after I got out of the hospital, I started to get girls from work asking me out on lunch dates and such. A few of the guys at work have also been trying to set me up with dates. I felt like crap about myself after what happened, and it's propped up my confidence a lot to be wanted like that. It's been years since I dated though, so it was both flattering and disconcerting at the same time. I've only gone on a few dates so far, partly because I couldn't see myself being with someone who wasn't at least a little brainy. I went out a few times now with one girl a few years older than I. I was pretty much dazzled after she started quoting Star Trek: The Next Generation. We went on a movie date to see Guardians of the Galaxy and had a really good time. But for all the good things that are going on right now, I've still been having to work to get through every day. When I'm not at work, I feel aimless and sometimes tired or sick. It's a struggle just to focus at times. Every date I've been on turns into an internal exercise in how much I can compare the date to my ex. Sometimes it seems like everything is on half mute, and it feels like the best part of my day is when I go to bed. For all the progress I've made, I still feel miserable. It doesn't help that part of my brain is always whispering how easy it would be to get back with my ex and start over. I don't know what else to do. Final update. 6 months later. I've gotten quite a lot of messages requesting an update. I took a 2-week paid vacation and my Steam account was recently hacked, so I thought I'd oblige them. To review, it's been over 6 months since I discovered my girlfriend's infidelity. I stopped seeing her shortly following that, and aside from a brief visit while I was in the hospital, I haven't seen her since. You can find a link to my last post and the others, insert link here, if you want to know more. I'd say that physically at least, I'm back to firing on all cylinders. I was never really out of shape before, but based on the advice of a lot of people here, I took the opportunity to change my diet and exercise habits for the better. I've made some really nice gains to that effect, and in most respects, I've found I have a lot more energy than before. The only downside is that the cold weather affects me more now. I've been on nearly a dozen dates in the past several months. They've all gone well, but it's like I have some internal tick preventing me from taking them seriously. I can't seem to muster the motivation to seriously pursue any romantic relationship. My sex drive has been near nil as well, despite the opportunities I've had. But besides that, things generally seem to be improving. In the last few weeks, I received a raise, saw some really great live stand-up, and finished paying my student loans off completely. Although they've been calling me for alum donations for over a year, the turds. I'll be spending a week or so at my parents' house over Christmas, or at least until I get tired of their force-feeding me. Aside from just doing what I'm doing, I don't know if there's much else I can do. It's not as though things aren't going well for me. I guess I just need to find the right frame of mind. In any case, I'd really like to thank everyone here who's ever given me a kind message or word of advice. Okay, a couple quick comments. Quick Draw says, "It may take longer. It took me about 2 years to get over my relationship that lasted 5 years. 2 years I spent being fairly depressed and majorly hooking up with women. Not the best 2 years of my life. Looking back now, I still want her to do well, and I hope that my ex is. She was an awesome girl, but in the end, I'm glad we broke up. I now have a wife I love very much, and I have been married for 13 years now. It does get better. It really does. You've done a lot of really good things to get yourself going again. Keep doing them, and one day you'll find that one person you've waited for who will make you a happy man." Cola Koala 200 rounds us out. Meh. So you're not really ready to move on yet. You lived with that girl for 5 years. Take the time you need. And the alum donation calls will never stop. I remember one time I moved. I had signed the lease at the last minute, and still the first piece of mail I got at my new address was a fundraising letter. It got there before I moved in. My roommates had it waiting for me. Those people are like squirrels trying to get at my bird seed. They will never stop.